Hello everyone. My name is Ismail Awal Mohammed from Mewar International University, Department of Cybersecurity, Faculty of Computing. I welcome you all to our Python session. So today I will introduce Python for you. This session actually is not only for computing students. So if you have a will to learn programming, you can join us. This is our first class, and we are going to be discussing on Python. So Python is one of the programming languages we have, and is developed by Rossum and it was first released 1991. So we have other programming languages like Java, C++, C#, and Core. So why do you need to choose Python? I guess you can drop the answers there on the comment section. So Python actually is easy to read and write. The syntax compared to other programming languages is well straightforward and easy, and it is used in artificial intelligence field, data analysis, scientific computation, and web development using framework like Django. So let's delve into the matter. So now you need to have a Python installed on your computer. Where can you get that? There is an official site for Python, that's python.org. Once you visit this site, you can have access to the Python. You can download for Windows and for Mac OS or Linux. After downloading the Python, it's just like a Java. You have to download JDK installed on your system, right? So same apply to Python. You have to download Python installed on your system. After downloading the Python, the next thing is what? The IDE. I stand for Integrated D Development E environment. You need to have an environment where you can actually have your code written. That's the IDE. So in our case, this board is our IDE. This is where we can be writing our code, but in subsequent class, we will be utilizing the one of the IDEs. So based on the IDEs, we have the VS Code, we have the PyCharm, we have the Tony, we have the Jupyter. So it depends on which you want to download. I will recommend VS Code or PyCharm for you guys. So after that, after installing this and installing the IDE, it's just for you to start. Where are you starting from? So Python, as I said, is easy to read and write. Compared to other programming languages, if you could remember your Java, if you want to output something on the screen, you have to write this long story, system.out.print. Then whatever you want to print, and you have to end with this guy called semicolon. But in the case of Python, you don't need this long story. All what you need is to call this function print. Then this guy will do the work for you. So you don't need to terminate your statement. This semicolon, you don't need it in Python. Once you write something like this, you can go ahead and run your code. So we have some syntax and data types. For those that don't have any knowledge of programming at all, that is what we call a data type. You can store a number, you can store string, you can store a Boolean value, you can store a character. What I mean, we have a number, right? We have a whole number, and we have a decimal point number, right? In normal scenario. So in programming, this is what we refer to as integers, and this is what we refer to as float. Then we have a string which will be enclosed by this quotation. Then we also have a character like A, B, or so ever. They are called characters. Then we have a Boolean value, a true or false. That's 0 or 1. That's bool. It can be false. It can be true. So that's for the data type. These few of the data type that we have. So there is also what we call a variable declaration. What do you mean by variable? Variable. So if you are talking about variable, you are just talking about a little space on the memory space, a little space that a system will create for you, like a memory, something like this. Once you declare a variable, then a space will be allocated for you for that particular variable. If it is integer, a space for integer will be allocated for you. If it is float, a space for float will be allocated for you. So in other programming languages like Java, you need to specify the data type. What I mean is, if you want to collect an integer value in other programming language, you have to specify int, then the name of the variable, like this. But in Python, you don't need this. All what you need is the variable name and the value of that particular variable, and Python will do the work for you. So before that, after trying to have your first program, you may need to save your work, right? So while saving your work, there is what we call extension. For other programming language, they have their own extension, while for Python, the extension is .py. This is the extension for Python, .py. If you want to save your file, like, let's assume the name of the file is first session or intro to Python, then you have to end it with .py. Mind you, don't leave a space. Don't leave a space. Blank space is not allowed. Always have the practice of concatenating with a dash or an underscore. So aside from this, we have some rules for declaring the variable. We have some rules for declaring a variable. First, before this, there is what we call a keyword. Keyword, they are reserved words in a programming language. They are reserved words like this float, like integer, like bool, like character. They are all keyword. We have other keyword like for, like elif, like else. All these guys, they are keyword, like or, like and. They are all keyword. So they are reserved words. So please, you shouldn't use any of them while declaring your variable. You shouldn't use any of them while declaring your variable. You should have a name that will uniquely identify that your variable. Let's assume you want to accept a number from a user, a first number, a second number. So how can you go about that? Num1, for instance, then store the first number. So if you can notice, this is a 1 and we have an alphabet. So the rule says you can have a combination of alphabet and a number, but don't start with a number. Don't start with a number, but you can start with an alphabet, then append a number to it. And also, don't give a white space. Num first, don't give a white space. This is a white space. Don't give it, please. You should use an underscore to cover up this space. Then you will now assign the value of the variable you want to be present in num first. So this num first now is holding 20. Remember, I said that once you declare a variable, a space will be allocated for you. So now this space will be allocated for you for 20. So 20 will be stored in this particular space. Good. So, and there is case sensitivity while declaring a variable. I use my n as a capital letter. So if I want to refer to this 20, I have to use the same capitalization with this my variable declaration, because I use n as my capital letter n as my variable name. Then if I want to print this, so I should make sure I maintain the same format with this my variable declaration. Make sure you maintain same format. So, and next thing is that you can also have an underscore. You can start your variable declaration with an underscore, something like this. You can start with this, it's allowed, but please don't start with a keyword and don't start with special character like ampersand, like your hash, your asterisk on the keyboard, your percentage sign. Please don't start with that. So also, this is a single variable declaration. You can have for string like name Ali, for instance. This is containing a string. So in Python, you don't need to tell the compiler that, okay, I'm storing a string. You don't need to declare the data type. What you need is just the variable name and the value. The variable name and the value. So also, Python also allows you to assign multiple values at the same time. What I mean by multiple value is you can have a variable x, a variable y, and another variable z. X, y, z. That means we have 3 variables declared. So based on these 3 variables, you can assign values to each and every one of them. What I mean is you can have some name, or you can have a car assigned for this, then a comma, you can have a bike assigned for this, sorry. Let me write it correctly. You can have a car, you can have a bike, you can have another thing, a motorcycle, or thereabout. So this is multiple values assigned at the same time. Unlike this single declaration where we are just declaring a single value to one single variable, then these multiple values assigned to multiple variables. So you can print each and every one of these. You can print your x separately. You can print your y. You can print your z. So once you print x, that means you will have a car. Once you print y, you will have a bike. And once you print z, you will have a motorcycle. So I will end this session with what we call a comment. What do you call what? A comment. So just like other programming languages, in Python we also have a comment. Comments is just for readability purpose. It doesn't add or subtract from your program. It doesn't add anything, but it's good so that you can explain your logic more on that your program. So how can you write a comment? And mind you, once you include a comment, the compiler, while compiling your code, it usually neglects that particular comment. It will not interpret your code with that comment. So take note. So how can you go about writing a comment? In Python, we have a single line comment and we have a multiple line comment. So let's assume you don't want this code to execute. This prints num first. You don't want it to execute anymore. So you just, since this is a line, this is a single line, so what you need to do is just to add your hash. This is a hash sign on the keyboard. You just place the hash sign. So that means once you place this, it will comment whatever it is here. And also, if you want to have more explanation on your code, you can also add a comment like this is a print method. It's just for you to explain your code. Interpreter will not interpret this. So same as this, once you add something like this, so this is not going to be part of your program. This is not going to be executed in your program. So how about this multiple line comment? In multiple line comment, you will have this quote, a single quote instead of double quote. You will have a single quote. Then if you want to comment a block, then a multiple line comment is for you. This is a block. We have a block that prints X, Y, Z. So you will just have your quote here. And where do you want it? Where do you want to end? Where do you want to comment? Maybe you just want Z to appear. You don't want X and Y to be printed. Then you now end your comment here. So this is going to be out of the scope. It is not going to be interpreted by the interpreter. This part is not going to be executed. This is the only part that will be executed. So at this junction, let me just briefly summarize what we have discussed today. Rather, we introduced Python for you guys, and this is the official site where you can download Python. After downloading the Python, install the Python on your system. There is a documentation on how you can do that on this site. Then you have to choose your IDE, either the VS Code. While choosing VS Code, you just need to download the extension. Just search for Python extension. But after you have this installed, then you go for this. Then we have other PyCharm, we have Jupyter. Then we also introduce variables for you. Then some data type. Then we also define that variable is just a space allocated for you in order to store your values. Then also, this is how you can print in Python compared to other programming languages like Java. And in Python, you don't need semicolon. And also, we introduce some rules for declaring a variable. And also, we see how you can assign multiple values to a variables. And also, we discuss comments. So let's meet in the next class. Thank you, everyone. Please don't afford to miss the next session. If there is any observation, addition or subtraction, please add on the comment section. Thank you.